Hey everyone, it's me, Matt. Welcome back to my Florida garden. So in today's video, we are gonna start the cleanup and cut back of my front yard garden beds. As many of you know, we had an unprecedented freeze last month at the beginning of February. It did a lot of damage to the plants in my garden, but today we're gonna get in there, we're gonna clean them up, we're even gonna replace some. So let's get into it. So spinning you around, here is my front yard garden. You can see this side here is actually way more colorful at the moment than the side over there. There's a lot more dead or dying plants over on that side, but I really quickly wanted to highlight all of the growth here in this flower bed. You might be able to see, I think you can see it, the tall lavender bloom spires of my lyre-leaf sages. These are native flowers here in Florida. They're gorgeous. They bloom this time of year around February, March. And they're really putting on a colorful show at the moment, so I definitely wanted to share what this flower bed looks like with you all. You can also see that my coreopsis flowers, these little yellow coreopsis flowers, are waking up for spring. We've had really warm temperatures the last few, I guess, days, probably over the last week, and these plants have really started to push their flower buds. You can see they are all budded up. There's buds everywhere. And then in here you can see my white salvias are starting to wake up. This one over here has put on quite a bit of size as well, along with this one back here. And then my nasturtiums that I grew from seed are continuing to put on size. They're looking really good. I did spray them with some neem oil because they were getting attacked by leaf miner bugs. You can see some of that damage here, but all this new growth is looking beautiful. So yeah, this area, the work that we're gonna do in here today, we're gonna replace some of my purple tibouchinas. As many of you know, I planted 4 tibouchina plants in this flower bed about, I guess, 3 months ago. Only one of them made it through the freeze. That's this one back here, this little guy. But I did find these 2 replacements. Hold on, a car's driving by. I did find these 2 replacements at a local garden center, and they're massive. And they were, I believe, $25 each. And I had previously paid $30 for these little guys. So I've got a little win here, garden win here, finding some beautiful replacements, and they are covered with these beautiful electric purple flowers. I gave a lot of information in the video, like I said, a few months back when I originally kind of redid this space. But these plants are an evergreen shrub. They have these gorgeous flowers in the late winter, early spring. They get about, I believe, 3 feet by 3 feet or 3 feet by 4 feet. So they're a nice kind of low head shrub. I need to get one more because I had 4 total. So I still need to find one more at the garden centers. A lot of them were sold out of the tibouchinas. I feel like everybody lost their tibouchinas in the freeze. I know I'm a glutton for punishment coming in here and replacing them with, you know, plants that got damaged by the cold, but I think they're so beautiful and I'm willing to take another shot at them. In the back here, you can see I do have these Texas sages. They've got this icy blue foliage. So you can see there's one here and here, and they are placed right next to my pitch apples that did not make it through the freeze. So instead of replacing my pitch apples with more pitch apples, I found these Texas sages that are a little bit more cold hardy. Let me give you some info. So I'm gonna try to pronounce the scientific name. It's Leucophyllum fruticens. Butchered that, I'm sure, but you can pause the camera, or sorry, pause the video and I guess read up on the scientific name if you'd like. But these are exotic bright silvery these plants have exotic bright silvery leaves, and they've got pink lavender flowers. So they create a lot of texture and color and contrast in sunny beds. You can use them as background plants or hedges. They grow up to about 4 to 5 feet tall. You can prune on them. They like sun, they like well-draining soil. They are cold hardy, they're drought tolerant, they're deer resistant and pest resistant. They're evergreen, and lastly, they do not like wet feet, and you can see they were a steal at only $14.99. So I thought that this combination of that icy blue silvery leaves with the dark green foliage on the tibouchinas, along with those gorgeous purple flowers, looked really good and would add some nice texture into this front flower bed. So today we will be replacing 2 of my 3 dead tibouchinas, along with all of my pitch apples with these plants. Coming over here, here's a sneak peek actually of what's to come. I picked up a ton of supertunias and superbinas, and you'll have to like and subscribe, or at least subscribe, to come back for more videos when I'm coming in and when I actually do the planting project with these plants. We're gonna cut back over here. These are my pentas flowers that are no more. There's a little bit of life still left in some of them, but I'm gonna pull all these out today. They're inexpensive flowers, heat-loving flowers, obviously not cold-loving flowers. So I'll pull these ones out today. There was some more pentas over here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these ones out. And then coming over to this side, we are going to cut back all of the dead stems on my, what are these, tropical sages. You can see this one here is blooming, but you can see that some of them have also started to push some new growth. So we'll just come in and kind of clean up the dead material, dead foliage on these plants, along with the dead foliage on the ones here. And then over in this bed, there's the most cleanup that needs to be done today. So again, lots of tropical sages that need to either be completely pulled out. This one has no life in it, so we'll pull that one out. And then these ones back here, you can see they're pushing new growth, but they've got lots of brown stems, dried up brown stems. So we'll clean these ones up. And then we are also going to be pulling my golden shrimp plants. So that's this one here, along with my blue porterweed, which is this one here. Did not make it. There's no signs of life there. And then this one over here, this is also a golden shrimp plant. So yeah, that's kind of what's on the docket. Oh, these as well. These were white lantanas, but you can see that they do have some new growth down there at their base. So we'll just clean up all of these dried out stems. There's one here, here, and here. So yeah, that is what's on the docket for today. And then really quick, let me take you to the backyard. Before we get started, let me take you to the backyard, and I want to just give you a quick update on the seedlings that we started. I guess I started them off camera, but I've been giving you little updates. They all have germinated for the most part. They're looking really good. So check this out. We've got the sweet peas here looking gorgeous. There is seedlings up in every single one of my containers. And then here, my Strawflowers. I need to come in here and probably thin these. I think I was a little bit heavy-handed when I was putting the seeds in these containers, but you can see we've got little seedlings in every single container. And then my Foxgloves, they just started to come up over the last day or so. So you can kind of see there's a tiny little plant here. There's some there. You can see the green popping through. But for the most part, I'm seeing little seedlings in all of these containers. There's one barely coming through right there. And then back here, there's one here and another one there. So let me head back to the front yard and we will get started on the garden cleanup, and then we will go in and replace all of those pitch apples and some of the tibouchinas. All right, so I've got my hand pruners here and some 70% isopropyl alcohol to sterilize my hand pruners with. As many of you know, I like to sterilize my pruners between plants. That way I don't spread any disease from plant to plant. So let's get in there. This should be really easy. There's a mosquito. Let's get in there and we will start pruning everything back. you can probably see, but there are a ton of clovers and oxalis in this bed, and I have been battling them for years this time of year. They pop up in my lawn, they pop up in the flower beds. Do you deal with them in your yard, and how have you been able to eradicate them? Because it's just a losing battle at this point. So anyways, we've got this whole area cleared out. I'll probably come through and rake it off camera to kind of clean it up a little bit, but let's move on to the flower bed over here to the right of my Adirondack chairs now. So I realized I forgot about this one here in between my Adirondack chairs, so I thought I'd give you a close-up. So I've got my sterilized pruners here, and all I'm gonna do is just come in and I'm trimming back to just where all that new growth begins. It's not hard, it's not difficult. So yeah, you can do this easily at home to any of your plants, whether they're tropical sages or lantanas. Just see where that new growth starts, and you're just gonna trim back right above where you see the new leaves. So this one is looking beautiful here, and then this one here we still need to clean up. So you can see here, let me try and spray these. There we go. Hopefully I got that on camera. It's hard to do all this stuff with just one hand filming and one hand cutting. Oh my God, I'm not even showing you. I guess, oh my goodness. All right, here we go. So yeah, these two plants have been cleaned up, and this one's got some big, beautiful leaves and a nice, beautiful stem. So now let's move on to the bed over here. All right, so these beds over here are all cleaned up. I do need to get in here and rake out all of the leaves here from my Hawaiian tea plants. You can see all the crispy leaves. I gotta do some pruning back on these plants. I'll probably have to cut them down to the ground and see if they shoot up some new growth from their root bases. But anyways, these flower beds here are cleaned out. Still gotta do something about that oxalis. It's such a mess. It's so hard to deal with it. Coming over here, you can see this one's looking a lot better. There's actually a blue jay just landed in my bird bath. Where did he go? In any case, if he comes back, I'll show you. So moving on, we're just gonna come here and we are going to cut back these pentas flowers here, along with, oh, there's a cardinal. You can hear him chirping, along with the pentas flowers here in front of the bird bath. And then we will move on to replacing the pitch apples with the Texas sages, along with the two tibouchinas. So for these plants here, I am just going to cut them back right at the ground level. We'll leave the roots in the ground. Maybe they will push some new growth from that root base. Otherwise, those roots will just kind of decompose and they'll add some more nutrients and organic matter into the soil. So this should be quick and easy, so let's get it done. Alrighty, so that was simple enough. You can see these pentas flowers are no more. Their root base is still there, so if they start to push some new growth from the root base, that'll be a little win. If not, I'll replace them with something new and beautiful. And then similarly over here, these ones have also been cut back, and you can actually see some of them actually do have some growth coming out of their bases. There's a little bit of green growth. So now let's move on to replacing the tibouchinas and the pitch apples. All right, so I've got my shovel here and some plant tone fertilizer. so that we can get all these plants planted in. So I'm gonna first move all the new plants out of the bed. We'll remove the old ones, the dead ones, and then I will place the new ones, and then we'll get them in the ground.
So there we go. All the plants have been pulled. You can see the old planting holes. So this should make this project a little bit easier. I'm gonna make the new holes just a little bit wider, about twice the width of the pot, just to kind of loosen up the soil around the root balls. But you can see the bulk of the work is already done. And then over here, I've got my little plant graveyard. You can see all of my dead pitch apples and tibouchinas. So let me put you back on the tripod. I'll place the new plants, and then we'll get to planting. So there we go. Everything is all planted. I still need to water them in. We had some rain last night, so the soil's a little bit more moist here in the front where the tibouchinas are, and it's a little bit drier toward the back where the sages are. So actually, I don't think I am gonna water them in, because the sages, I know, don't like wet feet. They don't like a lot of water. So I think I'm just gonna leave them as is for now. You can see these ones look like they're really close together compared to these two, but they're actually spaced about the same distance apart. These ones are obviously just bigger. As this one grows in, it will kind of close the gap, similar to how we have the placement here. And then back here, I still have the one hole that is empty, so I will find another tibouchina at a garden center, hopefully soon, so that I can replace it here. So again, the goal here is for those Texas sages to have that icy blue backdrop for all the plants here in this garden bed. So those Texas sages will be, they'll top out at about, I believe, 4 feet tall, maybe 5 feet tall, but you could prune on them and hedge them. So that's what I plan to do. I plan to keep them at about 4 feet tall, and then the tibouchinas will be a nice step down with their beautiful purple blooms. They'll be about, I think, 3 feet tall. And then we've got, like I said, I showed you already, all the beautiful sages, the lyre leaf sages that are blooming at the moment. So these plants should put on a show for probably the next 3 to 4 weeks. Then I'll come in here and cut all these bloom spires down, and then my white garas will start popping up. So there's a white gara here, there's another one there, and there's another one tucked in back there, along with the white salvias. And then, as I already alluded to earlier, I've got a ton of beautiful flowers that I picked up that I plan to plant throughout my front landscape. So make sure to come back next week for more garden content. Also, I did want to mention Mike O'Connor, if you're watching, he had recommended putting in some Mojo pittosporum. They're kind of like a mock orange. They've got a beautiful variegated leaf. They're more cold hardy than the pitch apples, and they've got an amazing orange blossom scent. I was looking for them at the garden center and I couldn't find them, so that's why I picked these sages. But Mike, thank you for that recommendation. I plan on finding some of those Mojo pittosporums and getting them added somewhere here in my front landscape. Maybe I'll get them over here. These right here are native forked blue curl plants, and they need to come out. They're past their prime, and they put a ton of seeds out into the garden. So they're kind of a thug in the garden. You can see all these little seedlings that pop up. So I think I'm gonna keep my eye out for those plants that you recommended, Mike, and get a little hedge going right here. So yeah, that is all the garden tasks for today. Let me spin you all around and I'll give you a little outro, and we'll end this video. So that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm so happy I was able to get outside today and start the garden cleanup process from the unprecedented cold. There's a mosquito buzzing right around my hat. I don't know if you can see him. But anyways, I'm so happy I was able to get outside and start the garden cleanup process, along with replacing some of the plants that were taken by the cold. Hopefully I've inspired you to do some garden cleanup in your own garden. If you haven't already done so, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons so you can hang out with me in future videos. And as always, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.